is. Okay, let me get my Zoom back up here and I screen. Jen, is that you? Because I got your email, but I'm not sure if that's you, Jen, that emailed me. If you can unmute your mic. Okay, good. We'll talk about that. So, well, hold on. We'll do like the land acknowledgement quick, and then we'll talk about that. Of course, my dog has to bark, right?
That's okay. Were you going to share the layer screen share, or do you want me to screen share?
I'm just getting it open. Hold on one second.
Oh, you're on mute still.
It's because I'm telling my daughter to get my dog to go somewhere else. Okay.
Awesome.
There we go.
Awesome. So the picture here is from over the break when we had that beautiful snow, and it is from my yard. And we were able to get outside and kind of enjoy being outside as a family. So I acknowledge the land on which we are gathered virtually today is part of the traditional territory of the Odawa, Chippewa, Potawatomi, and Delaware nations. I'm grateful for the moments that we can share together and really like enjoy nature as a family, and how much joy that it brings my children to enjoy all of the new seasons and all of the new weather that we have. And we're just really grateful that we get to have such diverse weather here in this area.
Okay, so did we want
to? So the session outline of things that we're gonna, do you want me to talk for a second?
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Okay. So this is kind of the session outline of the things that we're going to talk about today, about addressing challenging events. So we know that some have asked questions about how do we deal with the conversations that may have occurred today based on what happened in the States yesterday. So we're going to kind of address that a little bit. I do have a virtual teacher that's planning on coming in a little bit, so hopefully she can lead with some suggestions and answer some questions you have. We'll have time for questions and talk about student stamina, and then provincial direction about what that's going to look like. And we're conveniently at the time that Doug Ford, that an announcement is going to be made about what's going to happen next week. So that provincial direction piece might change a little bit going forward next week. So we'll kind of see what happens there. All right, so go ahead, Nicole, if you want to oh, you're on mute again.
Just realizing that. And Jen, I don't know if did any of your littles bring it up today at all? Like about what had happened?
No, not at all.
And see, I wasn't sure as well because I have kindergarten now too. So I wasn't sure that this would be something that would come up, but I think just being prepared to give them a forum to get out their ideas and have a safe space to share and communicate. And like, you know, for me, I have information and I follow stuff, but this article really helped me to go to in terms of like, how do you talk about kids about some violence, and then just some different suggestions that they have in there. So if you wanted something to go to, that was definitely a really good resource to go to for me. And just basically saying things on how you should give children, hold on, I'm just gonna go right here. So I just limit the kids' exposure to the media, and then just provide them, I think with the little ones especially, right? Just provide them the reassurance and knowing that the adults around them are going to protect them and make them feel safe and secure. Because like parents will have the TV on or have their phones, and incidentally, students, like their children can look over their shoulder or see on TV, right? And get a little scared. So I think just being prepared for some of those things, because to them, they don't know that this is in the US. They could think that it's right outside their own door in their neighborhood or whatnot, right? So just being prepared to let them talk about it, and but make them feel secure. And the article also mentions to be brief, like keep it to their level, be brief, and then move on. So let them ask questions. So, but I think that if Jen wants to ask some questions, maybe we can do that and help her troubleshoot some things that she's wondering about. So you were asking about the screenshot, right?
Yes. So I
Okay.
tried the screenshot and it didn't work, but it could be just me being technology challenged. But
Okay, and maybe I said something a little bit wrong too, because did you try the Windows sign?
oh no, I did not.
So, and Tanya, like when she told me this the other day, I have used it multiple times. So you press the shift, and you can even try it right now as we're talking. So the Windows, shift, and S at the same time.
Okay. Windows
Well,
shift.
Windows, then shift, then S, right, Tanya?
Yep.
Did that come up?
Yep, that worked. Yeah, I just think I missed the Windows part.
Yeah. And it won't save the images to your computer, but it'll just save it to that quick clipboard that you can paste it in your Google Slides or whatnot really quick.
Move it fast. Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's nice because you can kind of screenshot anything.
So I have one other question since I'm muted. So I watched a video too about how to do this. But if you're in a Google Meet and you are sharing a tab, so like say a YouTube video, like I have no problem seeing all of my class and it shows that I'm presenting, but there's nothing in the screen that I'm presenting because it's playing on a tab. Is that normal or is that just me?
That's what
Okay.
it does. And there have been a lot of people that have notified Google that that enormous black
Yeah.
box is really rather useless if you're presenting,
Yeah.
because you know that you're presenting. So it's one of those things where they know, and hopefully they will adjust that. Um,
I
yeah.
mean, there's always those options of using dual monitors and logging on to two Google Meets and stuff, but I'm trying to stick with like one kind of device because it's what I have for school. And it's working and the kids can see it and everything because I can see their faces and they're watching it, right? So you know that, and you just shut your microphone off and it seems to be working.
Yeah, so that's great that that's working. And yeah, there isn't really a good fix for that right now. Hopefully, at some point, Google will recognize that we don't need to have this big box that shows us that we're presenting, that they'll like shrink that down so that we can see their faces a little bit bigger, especially if you have more students in a class. But yeah, it's not just you. We all have that.
I think the funniest part is too is that I'm not like there's some people on here that have been doing the virtual teaching. So I was thinking like maybe they could send us out something of an idea for like etiquette during Google Meets because 90% of my kids are fine, but we like it's interesting that the 10% that in class would be the ones you're talking to are also the ones you're talking to during a Google Meet. Like today was, I said it to all of them, not to center anybody out, but you need to know that not only am I watching you and seeing you, everyone is, and so are all of their families. as you're jumping on the bed and doing aerobics instead of sitting with your face. And I tell them I just want to see their beautiful faces unless I ask them to show me something.
Yeah, and there are a number of things that have been shared with that, and that we are going to share some resources that will lead you to where you can get some of that information. Melissa Dent in our board is absolutely phenomenal. And she has created a virtual teacher's website that you can go to for resources, and a Google Drive that has a whole ton of resources available. And that's in the links later on where you can go and get that. And while we're talking, I'll see if I can pull up an example of what she has for you, and kind of show you exactly where to go for that.
I actually have a couple up, Tanya.
Yep. Perfect.
I have a couple up, and I can show her the actual, like I have the shared drive open. So all you have to do is request access, and she's just said, just request access, and she'd love you to join. So. All right, so right here, the shared drive is remote learning resources. And within that, there are, I'm just going to minimize these. Okay. Within that, there are so many folders set up. So well-being, virtual field trips, templates, technology, like a wealth of resources there. The ones that I have open here, which I was thinking of using, and Jen, and the rest of you as well for your age groups, I thought this would be a really good resource. So if you pulled one of these out of there and you notice that, okay, they're just becoming a little bit, they need a brain break, they need to get up and move, and you just play this for them. And it's really cute. You won't be able to, if I share this tab, you will. I'll just share this a bit differently. Hold on. I can share the sound with you.
What's up, my mammals? This is Sid the Sloth from the movie Ice Age, and we're about to do this new dance, the Continental Drift. It's time to step on your feet. It's easy to do. Just follow me. Move it out. Do the Sid. Take it back. And do the Sid. Step left. Then drift. Step right.
And then there's a little.
Can anyone?
Oh, it's not loaded?
It was just like a black box that I could see. Can anyone else see, or is that my internet thing? Sometimes that happens.
I could hear it, but not see it, but that's okay. It was cute to hear it.
Okay, can you see the screen now? Can you see these different options on the?
Yes, yeah.
The screen. Okay, so it's turning. So there's all of these different, and this one is just, it tells them turn your camera off, mute your mic, stretch and close your eyes. So it depends what your purpose is, right? If you want to get them up and moving, or if you just want them to calm and bring them into a different state. And there's lots of ideas there. And then there's Fitness Giffopoly too, which was cute. And so you get your virtual dice, I think, out, and then roll it, and they can move along here and play. Your virtual dice is right here, actually. Oh, can you see that or no?
We can see.
Okay.
And then if you have access to that folder and you type in etiquette, there are a bunch of different things that have been added to the folders. No,
and
the virtual field, the folder. So like
virtual field trips. Okay.
Sorry, no, remote learning resources. So if you're right in the folder, so just go back, and then if you type in etiquette, there are a whole bunch of different things that come up, and there are a number of things that are organized by grade. So you might be able to find things that are geared specifically for primary, which is really helpful, because I find a lot of times I'll see something and it's
So do we have, does
It's-
this have to be shared with us, the virtual resource folder?
So with this one here, you actually have to email Melissa Dent and just ask her to add you to the remote learning shared drive. So the virtual teacher resource, Tanya, you were talking is a little bit something different, right?
That's where you got this from, right? That's, yeah. So the one I was talking about was that virtual teacher resource and that you have up there, and that's the website that they can go to, that she's
Yeah, which is a
created.
little bit different. Yeah. Has anyone seen this yet? The virtual teacher resource? Okay. And you can explain that, Tanya.
Sure. So this is a website that Melissa Dent created, and there are a number of different areas that you can go to for information on this website. So if you want morning announcements, information, she has like things that are ready to go. So you would be able to just kind of play it right away. Things for announcements, tech tips, things about equity and inclusion. So right along the top there, you can see it kind of popped up there now. Free resources. So there's lots of different things there that she has some really awesome things for you to kind of explore and take a look at. And so
Now
that's a great
she
place to
is
find-
a 6'7", is that what she said? She's a 6'7" teacher, but there are a wealth of resources that can cater to multiple grade levels from FDK to 8. The other thing I'll play with you right from here as well, if that's okay, for our ELL learners. This was created by Janessa. I don't know if you'll be able to hear the volume from here, will you?
I don't think so.
Okay, I'll have to share that a bit separately.
We hear popping.
Oh, that's part of it. Yes.
Hi guys, Miss Letham here, as my kindergartens like to call me. But for all my friends and colleagues out there, I wanted to give you a couple of quick tips for next week as you go into virtual learning. These are just a couple of things that
I can flip back to our resource here.
Hello, Miss Letham here, and I got a great tip from my friend Teresa Lopatrone to help out our English language learners. All you have to do is right-click, go to Translate to English. Up here now we have a new icon called GT, Google Translate. Click the 3 dots, choose another language, and drop-down menu, Translate. And now you'll notice, look, German. That's not even the magical part. Now, when I click the captions, make sure you're unmuted. I am speaking English and it's coming out in German. This is something you would teach the student how to use. To go back to English, all you have to do is go back up to this GT, 3 dots, choose another language, English, bada boom, bada bing, we're back to English.
That's a really awesome opportunity for families that may be struggling with this ELL component at home, with especially parents if they don't speak very much English, to kind of help them help their students. That's awesome.
Okay, and then that
Thanks
was
for
just
sharing
those resources. And then just remembering the importance of building stamina. Where did you find that you were at the beginning compared to where your children are at now with day 4? Really day 3, because Monday was a 30-minute block. Do you find a difference between what it was like at the beginning to what it's like now?
And I see that Lori Russell has joined us from the virtual school. So Lori, would you maybe like to mic on and camera on and speak about the stamina aspect with students?
Can you hear me right now?
Yes.
I don't know how to turn my camera on in Zoom. I've been on Zoom before and I've never ever used my camera and I can't find how to turn it on.
No problem.
I'm definitely not the person to answer questions today, obviously.
Well, I think that's one of those things that when we're used to using a different platform, even those that
I'm
are
used to
very
Google
used to
Meet,
things,
but
it's, yeah. So on the very bottom, there's a button near where it says mute.
Is it the
shows a
video
little
I
camera.
want?
If you click
okay.
start video, then it works.
I'm clicking on it, but it's not getting rid of. Oh, there it is.
It might take it a second for it to work.
I was scared that would mess something up. I didn't realize it was video, not camera. Okay. But it's still not doing it. Where is it?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, there we are.
We
Okay.
can see you.
Okay. Okay. After that fun little episode, you're going to think, well, she's not one to answer any questions, but some of the things I just kind of jotted down, a few things that I have definitely learned. One of the main ones is go slow. You can't, for these kids, you've got to go really, really slow, and you have to really guide them for all of the technology all the way through the activities, especially at the beginning. If you haven't already used a second monitor and you have that option, I had just done that a little before Christmas, and that's a game changer. So if you happen to have a monitor that you can connect, that will make your life so much easier. I don't have an iPad that works, but I know that if you have an iPad that works, what's it called? How do you pronounce that, Tanya? Do you know? No, the other one that Jana had introduced us to before Christmas, I went in and looked at that one, and it is awesome if you have an iPad that works, but mine's too old.
Okay, I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that.
I have it written down somewhere, but it starts with a D. DOCERI. That's a program. If you want to look into it, you can actually write on any screen. So it can be in Google Slides, it can be anywhere. And you're using your stylus on your iPad, and that one allows you to write anywhere, which you will find is a big time saver. And for teaching the lesson, it makes it a lot easier to be able to use an actual pen rather than trying to use the mouse.
Awesome.
So
and
even
what was
in
that
like
again? And I'll write it in
Jamboard
the chat box.
Pardon?
What was the name of that again? And I'll write it in the chat box.
DOCERI. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Doceri.
Okay. Yeah.
Something like that. But I installed the free 3-month, or no, I guess it was only 1 month, free 1 month on my own personal laptop. And I can use it with my iPad, but I can't use my school one because I don't know if they'll let us. You need to install it on the computer if your Google Meet doesn't work through your iPad, and mine won't. But that's a nice program to look into if you have an iPad that works and a computer that you can install programs on. Another little hack that I find really useful is if you're trying to cut and paste using Windows Shift S, that'll let you, I don't know if you'd already talked about that one, but that's a game changer where you're able to cut and paste really, really quickly rather than having to copy paste. I find that's a time saver. Another thing that I just found out, the LLI, if you had access with your school that you're leaving, you can actually get digital access to the LLI material for doing your guided reading and all those activities, but you have to request it. It takes a few days for them to get back to you. But if you have access, that was something I just did. What else was I gonna? Use Seesaw activities that are already made. Always do a search. I spent a lot of time making them, and then when you get looking, probably most of the things I made, they were already there that I could have used. So use Seesaw activities that are already made. Don't spend a lot of time if you don't have to, because you're going to be making a ton of them.
Time they're there, and with just small tweaks to make it work
Yeah.
for you and your class, it's a huge game changer there. So,
And I learned that the hard way the past few days as well, because at the beginning I was trying to think of my own stuff and try to create my own stuff and put it into Seesaw, and they started looking at the activities, which I knew they were there already. I've used them before, but just in my mind I was creating my own thing, and then like you said, I looked and it was already there. So
I don't know if anybody had any questions or anything, but those are some of the things that I found were shortcuts or time savers. The LLI, I think, is going to be a time saver for doing guided reading for sure, because the activities are already there, the books are already online, and you can use them with your smaller groups easily, which I hadn't had any materials that I could use before. So
that's awesome. Another option for that is if you have RAS kids, you could use books from there and project that on the screen. Or Epic is another one that has books that are available for free online. So, and they are leveled. They're not as easily searchable for particular items that you might want to look for. But it is another place for books that you could look at, and it lends itself very nicely to projecting that on the screen and then sharing that with students for small group reading or whole group reading even. And there's some super fun ones on there. Awesome, thank you, Lori. Do you have anything about like helping students build stamina with balancing that synchronous and asynchronous time, or how to balance that time?
I find by the end of the day, grade ones, they're shot. I've put all of my like DPA, gym time, social studies and science. I try to do action things that are going to keep their interest, because by the time you get to that last block of the day, they are spent. They've been sitting behind a computer too long. So I try to get all of my language, my math, all that stuff done first block, part of the second block, and then try to keep them busy with anything with action in it near the end of the day. That last 20 minutes, it's brutal because they are done. So building their stamina, I don't know what. If I had the answer, I wouldn't be struggling as nearly as much either. I don't know. They're young, and sitting behind a computer is not easy for them. If I had the answer, I wouldn't be struggling near as much either.
But I think that's helpful to know that we're all kind of in the same boat of even teachers, remembering to take a moment to get away from the computer and stretch yourself and all of that kind of stuff as well. And having those brain breaks.
Well, that's definitely breaks constantly, yeah.
It's really helpful.
On that site, the virtual site that Melissa Dent created, if you look in there, it has some information on just starting out virtually, and some of her suggestions on there are to make sure that you take the breaks with the students as well, because they're just as important for you as they are for the students. So that was a huge thing that she had mentioned on there too, that I took away from that.
And I'm just seeing a bit of news come out that apparently it's official now that we will be extending this time for another 2 weeks on this remote learning. So you're going to have to dig into some of these things maybe a little bit more over the coming weeks about making that work at home.
And I think that might be, I know for me, re-envisioning how we've been doing things in our schedule. Now that we know it's going to be a little bit longer, it's going to be making things work in a little bit of a different way, right?
Right, and know that you're not alone in that there are a ton of resources that are available and that have been shared on the previous sessions, and that are on the blog and that are in this website that Melissa created and that are in the Google Drive. So there's a lot of information that's out there to kind of help support you through through the next couple weeks.
And I think if we just go back to learning happening within people's homes as well, and as we go further into this online learning, we know for our younger grades, especially, parents are right there, and parents are working at home or parents are beside them, their children on the computers as well. So just caution that parents are present and that they may have different viewpoints than we have. Even the way that we're talking to the students, just be cognizant of that. I don't know, Lori, or Tanya, if you had any thing to add in terms of that, but just knowing that the parents are in the room too, right? Do we do things a little bit differently because the parents are in the room? Did you do anything different with that, or was that always in the back of your mind too?
I think it was always in the back of my mind a little bit. I found one thing that, especially when we would do like DPA and do activities, and I try to do them with the students so that gets them going. And I'm being all crazy doing DPA with the students, knowing that grandma or someone is also watching. But it is what it is, and it's all meant to support the students. And I think that when we think about it in that vein, a lot of that is appreciated by parents. Do you have anything to add for that, Lori?
I agree. You're kind of thinking, oh my God, why am I acting this way when the parents are watching me? But you have to do that to get their attention. And the crazier you act, the better they pay attention to you. So I got over it. I figure, okay, they've seen me acting crazy now. But you've got to, even if you think they're going to think, well, she's crazy, but in order to keep their attention, there's no other way, I don't think. But it's a nerve-wracking thing, thinking, oh, those parents are all watching the whole time you're teaching.
But then I think what comes from that sometimes too are some really amazing moments. So I had one time where we had a student that we were doing a dancing thing, a DPA, and mom jumped in, and then grandpa jumped in, and we had like a whole family dance party. And those were really special things that student talked about later, and other students talked about how we all shared that. And so I think kind of embracing some of those moments can be really fantastic as well.
Does anyone have music suggestions that they've done?
Music suggestions?
I can get back to you on that, Catherine. Maybe I was looking last night into Sonia Lozon's website links in that from last spring, and a lot of them aren't working. So I was going to ask her, just because she lives and breathes music really, right? So I can let you know, or maybe you'll see me doing crazy music things on. I teach Catherine's daughter as well right now. So anyway, sorry guys, we were supposed to have a staff meeting at 3:30, so I was trying to log in and juggle both, but now because of the announcement, it's tomorrow. So, but I don't know for sure what to answer on music. Besides that, I can get back to you possibly with ideas.
There is a site called musicplayonline.com. I think you eventually have to pay for it, but I've been using it every once in a while, and it has it's grade appropriate. Like you can click on grade 1 and it'll give you lessons already prepared, and it has all the music, everything you need. I think I'm going to eventually have to pay if I want to keep using it, but it's one that you could look at. If you're only on for a few weeks, you could probably use it for the majority of the time.
Great, thank you, Lori. Thanks, Lori.
I just looked in the virtual drive, and I don't see anything about music resources that would be probably appropriate for this grade, but there is dance and visual art in there.
I think yesterday when we had and today we have virtual teachers too. I think there's a lot to be learned for myself from the virtual teachers, because I'm finding it, I don't know scheduling wise if I'm doing enough like time on a Google Meet and then giving them an activity to do, if that's a good practice. But I think about, we were told to keep it similar to our timetables, and in your timetables in your classroom, what you would do is like a whole group introduction to something, maybe demonstrate it the best you could, give examples, and then you give them something to do and you walk around and engage with the kids. So I don't know, I guess I'm struggling with, I'm thinking like, are the parents thinking that I'm spending enough time like visually seeing their kids, even though I'm available still on a Google Meet, I just might not be putting on a show at that time. I think that's the struggle. I think like a scheduling thing, and I really liked that they said to kind of place your learning from 9 to 12, because I'm finding after that, like my Google Meets in the afternoons or later in the day are okay, but they're starting to dwindle off a bit.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point to take note of how the students are handling it, and maybe how we need to adjust schedules and things going forward to suit that a little bit better. Because I know that the direction came for us to try to kind of mirror the schedule as best as we can for remote teachers right now for you guys, because of prep coverage and things, so that we don't have to re-timetable everything. But I know that we've heard from other virtual teachers how that type of schedule, where they work kind of in a more concentrated time period, works really well. So maybe there will be some ideas about what that's going to look like going forward. And you might find going forward as well that you want to start getting into some small group discussions, knowing that you're going to have some time to get into those routines and how to teach the students and things like that, how to get into that. And so that will help to really connect with students and help them and kind of assuage that, I think, worry that you have with parents, that you are meeting with students and you are there supporting them.
I think I'd like that even for myself as we go forward, maybe digging a bit into how to actually set up breakout rooms, or how to manage small groups and how to schedule small groups. Is there anybody else who would find that helpful as well? Yeah, okay. Sooner than later.
Like with the scheduling, we were just kind of told to give the kids longer breaks, but then from what I learned on here yesterday, virtual teachers are saying give, especially in the morning, a short 20-minute break and keep going. But I've been given hour breaks each time based on the recommendation to give longer breaks and the 225 minutes. And back to the music, our music teacher, Sonia Lozon, just recommended musicplayonline.com. So same as what Lori said. So thank you. So you're the expert, Lori. There you go.
If I could just chime in on that. Hi, everyone, on the music question, which this is not specific to music, but it could be for almost any subject. So in the online world, in our virtual school, we've had some classes combine. So they've gotten together because one teacher was more of an expert. So, and this is a very specific example that Jana shared as the vice principal shared with the principals yesterday morning. Erin Sterling knows how to drum, I think. So they combined a bunch of classrooms and she did drumming lessons with the kids. And so you would need to be there to be observing and assessing your kids' participation and that kind of stuff. But there's ways around some subjects where you might not be real comfortable, or how do I do this online? I think, talk to those people that that are already sort of experts like Sonia, and see what they have to say about doing that kind of thing. My understanding from that was it was a really positive experience. And what I heard, what I thought afterwards is like, this doesn't have to be drumming. It could be just about anything. We did it in the summer learning program, as Nicole is well aware, and so is Tanya. With on Fridays, we had somebody hired, and she came in, and all, how many classes did we have? 21 classes, I think. 19 classrooms all joined together. So we had over 100 kids.
Mm-hmm.
And they did, it was a
Mindfulness.
indigenous mindfulness dance yoga combination. So it was sort of a combination of all, but we had, Gretchen had hired her to do lessons. So there's all kinds of things that you can do, as well as, you know, trying to figure it all out yourself.
Yeah, and then you create one Google Meet and then invite that all, and you can put that one meet onto your seesaws, right? And they all join up for that time and then go back to your classroom after.
Or something else that we've done in the virtual world as well is that the teacher goes into the meet. And so we did a virtual field trip that way, where there were, I think there were 6 or 7 different classrooms, and the teachers all had the Google Meet link. So we joined in on the virtual tour, and then we screen shared with our students. And so they were able to be a part of it, and we had prepared questions and things like that. So that's an opportunity as well. If you have someone that you know is an expert in a certain area, it's really easy to join in on that meet, and you can still see your students on your screen and have that interaction with them, but someone else is able to kind of lead that learning. And that was really powerful, I felt, because that person was a professional at that. And so I think it's really great for us to lean into people that can share that with us.
There are also a lot of resources like the art gallery, where they're actually doing virtual classes where you can actually go in and join at 10 o'clock or whatever time. There's a schedule. And I think it's starting on the 11th, they're doing it again, so that it's Monday till Friday. And you can go in and pick your grade level, and they'll actually do an art lesson with your kids. So you just join the Google Meet. I think it's Zoom though, but you have to join from your browser. You'll figure it out from the screen what it says, and you can join right into their meeting, and they're doing your art lesson for you basically. So there's lots of resources out there like that too, where you're getting the professionals doing it, where you maybe don't feel quite as qualified.
Well, that's good to know, Lori. Thank you. Have you done the one through the library, Lori?
Yes, and that one was really good. The kids were really engaged, and the librarian really kept their interest. It worked
Holly
out
Campbell-
perfect because we were doing community helpers at the time. So then we did a thing about librarians and how the librarians were very helpful. She'll guide them how to use PebbleGo and show them a site where they can go into PebbleGo without having the membership, and give them a link so that they can do that at any time. And that's useful because it reads to them, and you can say, go in and read a book about a community helper, and they can do it all on their own now. She was very helpful.
Okay, Holly Campbell just told me about that last night, so I wanted to look at, so that's good. And PebbleGo.
Which library was that?
Through Chatham Kent. And she has an awesome presentation for the grade 1s anyway.
Yeah, and PebbleGo, I had signed up for December for my free month, and then we didn't use it because we had lots of school activities come up. So that's good to know there's another option for PebbleGo too.
That's,
so thank
you just scroll down, and if they go in through the Chatham Kent Library site, it's free.
Right.
You have to go in through that.
The way that we
site.
did with
Show them
Tumble
how.
books and things. Okay.
And the students don't have to have a library card set up.
Yeah, and actually, there's different ones. She'll explain it. Some of them you do need the library card to be able to get to the books. Like she'll read them a book, digital book that comes up on the screen, and she'll actually show them how they can go in with their library card and get those same books to read at home. It was really, I learned things from that lesson too. But she'll talk about the PebbleGo. There's 3 or 4 other programs that she'll go over too that are free if you go in through their Chatham Kent Library link.
I think you need.
But yeah, that's
your own library card to start. Is that right? You need your own library card to get in as a teacher first, maybe? Like, I don't know if Sarnia,
I'm not sure. I didn't try to go in and get some of these books that she was talking about, but I know that the library card was necessary for a couple of the things she was talking about.
okay, I just thought maybe Holly meant just to initially, you know, get into anything with it, but maybe not. I haven't done it yet, so. Okay, thank you.
The kids don't need it for Pebble Go. I know they can get into
Yeah.
that without a library card, but I'm not sure about, I think
But
they need it.
do I need my, like I have one, but for those who don't have a Chatham-Kent library card, like, do you need it to get to sign up for the session with the
I
library,
didn't
or maybe
have
not?
anything.
Your own?
She
Okay,
sent out an email. I can forward the email that she sent out to us if you want, like, contact information, and then you can just contact her to come whatever days able for you guys to do it. But she sent out an email. That's how I learned about it, and we just
Okay.
kind of signed up
thank
for a
you.
time that was available.
And she had also done a really fantastic coding presentation with the students as well. So that might be a direction that you want to go in as well over the next little bit, because coding online lends itself really nicely right now. As well.
Okay, are there any other questions or some things that you want to share that went well?
I'm trying to think of they did some virtual field trips and they were really good, but I can't think of all the different ones we've done already.
Did you have them, Lori, explore on their own the field trips, or did you actually play the field trip? And how did that stream? Was that okay?
Well, there's some, like the Conservatory for the Butterflies, I think it was Cambridge. They actually did it in such a way that, like, there was a person talking directly to the kids, and it was really, really well done. And then they had it so that if the kids had any questions, they could actually email this person, a professional, to answer the questions about the butterflies. And the kids thought it was really cool because, like, they were interacting with them even though it was virtual.
Yeah.
I know that was Cambridge. We did a walk on the moon, and I can't remember which can't remember the name of where I found that one, but they actually, like, the kids were up and they had to put their moon shoes on and they were walking on the moon and feeling the gravity. And the person that did it was just awesome for kids. But there was a bunch of those. Like, I tried to do a field trip every Friday, and we've done some really cool ones, but I can't think of all the names of them. I should write them down. Oh, you're muted, Tanya.
So maybe, Laura, you could think of some of those and then share that with me, and then they could reach out to me or Nicole if they have those questions, or we could put that into that virtual the drive as the virtual school drive as virtual field trips options.
Yeah, the ones that are interactive, I find, keep the kids' interest a lot more, but there are tons, like farm mammals and all the different things. You can find so many just as videos, but I find the interactive ones are the ones that the kids really, really like. And the walking on the moon one sticks out, and the butterfly one is what my kids really, really enjoyed. I'll make a list and send it to you so that you can add that in there.
Awesome, thank you.
Just to go back to the music one more time, Sonia just said she thinks everything is free and open on that site right now. So hopefully that might be extra helpful to anybody who might be almost done their free time or wanting to know that.
It is an awesome site. Like, everything you need is right there in front of you, and it's all grade specific. I've used it a lot, but I thought that we only had a month, but maybe they've extended it now because of the remote learning longer.
Well, thanks for all the ideas. I know since we're extending, we will definitely have more questions as time goes along and we try things and we think it's supposed to be working and it doesn't work and we don't know why and all that fun tech stuff, right?
Patience. It's what we've learned. Patience. There are days, I remember the first Thursday I was ready to just quit. I can't do this. And now I'm looking back and I'm thinking of all the years I've taught, I think I've learned more this year than any year. And I'm actually starting to enjoy trying the new challenges, where at the beginning I was like, you want me to try what? But now I'm like, I want a new iPad. I want to be able to use all these different things. And I want to try some of the newer programs, but it takes a long time to get so that you're ready to, like, you have to give it time so that you're familiar with each of the ones before you start introducing a new one. That's what I find. But once you've done it for a while, it's amazing what you can do online, I find.
I find it amazing the amount of things that lend themselves really nicely to working online, like small groups and things like that, because you don't have to manage behavior while you're in your small group. You just meet with your group and that's that. You don't have to pay attention to what's happening in the rest of the classroom. And so that was really an awesome opportunity I found working with students. So you'll have those moments for sure, or you'll have a whole family dance party or something. It will turn out awesome.
And using that microphone, like having the kids be able to use a microphone, you send them a reading passage and you can be listening to the reading, even though you maybe didn't sit right down with them, they're reading to you and you're hearing their reading when they're doing it using that microphone too. So you don't have to feel like you have to be in a group all the time with them. You can still listen to their reading and still be able to assess things using the technology that we have. So
Lori, did I miss where you talked about what you use for reading?
For what specifically reading?
Like if you were looking for the kids to read to you at their level for, like, say, guided reading, what are you using? I've
purchased a lot of Teachers Pay Teachers materials. I really like the ones where they were sequencing. So for the grade ones, there's one that has like just CVC words that they're practicing, and it's really basic, but they'll have I made them all into seesaw activities, and each day I give them a leveled piece of reading and they have to read it. Well, I have there's 3 stars, so they have to read the passage 3 times. The 3rd time they're recording what they've read. And then there are 4 pictures that they just move into the order that they happened. So you've got the pictures, and in that picture, there'll be somewhere in the reading, it'll have like a color or something that they have to do to those pictures to make me know that they understood what they read. The kids love doing them, and I'm hearing them read every single day by giving them one of those activities. So I'm actually using a lot of those as assessments.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Without having to meet with all of the groups every single day.
Right.
What
And
did
then
you say
you
that
had
was called again?
mentioned-
I'm sorry.
The ones, I just sent one to Holly a second ago and I already forget
Oh,
what they
it's-
were called.
Oh, okay. Because I can get it from.
Wish I had one printed off that I could just show you. Actually, maybe I do. I was gonna share, but I know how to do it on Google Meet. I don't know how to do it on Zoom to bring it up online.
I just didn't catch the name of what you called it, or.
It's sequence. Read in sequence, I think is the name of it.
Read in sequence. Okay, thank you.
I know there's a
Laura,
different ones on Teachers Pay Teachers, but they're all different levels. And I had the first level, and then I've used it enough that the kids are already moving up to that next level. So I purchased the next one now, and it's like CVC with silent E is the one that my highest group is working on right now.
Lori,
And
if
you
you did
could
want to
also
share, we can walk you through it. It's easy. It's just the green share
volumes.
button at the bottom.
Somebody said something I couldn't hear.
Just that if you did want to share, it's just the green button at the bottom.
Oh, if I can figure this out, I'll share one of the activities right with you then.
And you just share your screen or your tab the same, pretty much same way.
You're not seeing what I'm seeing right now, are you?
No. You're probably seeing a menu of things that are open on your computer if you've clicked the share button.
Uh-oh, I'm losing your voice, everything right now. I've lost everybody. Oh, there you are. It's reading to me and I'm not trying to do it.
That's okay. I can put the name into the chat. What was it again?
I just had it up. That's somebody reading. I can hear it. You're probably hearing him. He's reading the actual activity, but I can't get it to. Okay, I'm really stuck right now.
So Lori, are you on a Mac or a PC?
PC.
Okay, do you see anything on a menu bar anywhere that says Zoom on it that will get you back into the Zoom so you'll see everybody?
My internet thing, I can't even make out what people are saying if we're talking. My internet's closing down completely.
I think it's a sign.
I heard you that time. I'm hearing everything all weird.
So just to jump in for a
Too much
second,
open. Okay, I'm back to Zoom now. But
getting that fixed. I did put in the chat box that you could use RazKids if you have access to that through your school, or Epic is a free website that you can set the students up on that they can access books as well. And it lends itself really well to project the books on the screen and do kind of small group instruction that way. And then Laura, you did mention earlier that there was someone you could ask about LLI resources.
I just did it. I think it was in the Christmas holidays. I saw it on Facebook that if your school had access to LLI, all teachers would have access online portion because of the remote learning. So I requested access and I have it now. I haven't had a lot of chance to get in and actually see what the lesson plans look like in that yet, but I know that it's definitely going to be helpful. And it said that anyone whose school had access could apply for that. Pardon?
And who did you email for that?
I'll have to look it up in my email, but I can send that information to you so that others can try that too.
I know any teachers who have LLI students in their classroom, they should be attached there and they can go, it's not the same as the resource teachers, what they have, but you can go in and get onto a lot of like online resources. There's a place for them to click and they can go in and explore. And I even have some of my EAs attached to that. They can't see the students' data, but they can still have access to all those resources, which is nice if they're working with a little person in your class and they need an idea.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Does anyone have any other questions or wonderings that we could help you with? All right. Well, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate that you were here and hopefully you were able to get some ideas and some support. Feel free to email us if you do have questions in the future. And I'm sure there will be more support that will be coming to help you over the next few weeks. But there are a lot of resources available, so don't feel alone. There is help there.
Would Rod be a good person to ask an internet question to, like a home internet?
You can always try.
So I have 3 children, so they're all working online at the same time, and I'm trying to work from home. And I had 2, one on a Chromebook, one on an iPad, one on a computer, and then I was trying to go onto my work laptop. And every time I went onto my work laptop, we crashed the internet and shut the internet down, the connection. It seems like 3 is okay, even with our phones and stuff. But as soon as I put on my work iPad, or my work laptop, shut it right down.
All I can suggest is when you boot the work laptop, just give it a fresh reboot and make sure everything is turned off that could possibly be connecting to the internet. So you're focused on all of the bandwidth for your machine going to that one app that you're using to teach or learn from. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Like sometimes there'll be different apps in the background that are pulling data through that you don't even know about. But I would suggest that for all of the machines that your children are using, just make sure the only apps they have open, especially those that are connected to the internet and using Wi-Fi, are those that they really need at the moment. Like if in the background they've got text chats going on or running YouTube channels and different things, any of that, sometimes even though it's latent, it'll have a connection to the internet and keep talking to it and pulling little bits of data. So anything you can do to just pare down what is being used at any one time, that's what I would recommend. And that would include things like telephones. If somebody has phones in the house that are using the Wi-Fi, maybe it's time to switch them off for a bit. And we have 5 internet, so our televisions are on the internet as well. So having them down and off during the school day is another way to maybe preserve a little bit of the data.
So I was wondering about this. So I took my son off of the laptop and put him on an iPad instead. And so I was working on my home laptop instead of the school one. So basically one computer instead of 2, and then replaced it with an iPad. And I almost felt like it wasn't kicking us out as often. Does that make sense or no?
Yeah, there are fewer things pulling on your Wi-Fi. Yeah. What kind of service have you got?
We're out, and it's like, yeah, it's I'm trying to think who we're with. We're out in the country. So, and I know we talked to the internet provider and the signal, they were trying to work with the signal. And
yeah, there's a lot in rural Ontario. A lot of people are struggling with this reality with kids taking courses and parents teaching at the same time. It's a real challenge.
So would the iPad use less bandwidth than a laptop, or no?
Maybe, depends on what apps are running in the background and things.
Okay.
I know we're with Bell, and there are little speed tests that you can use with the provider to find out what the connection is for each device to your modem, and from your modem to whatever service is. There may be, your service provider might be able to tell you some apps that you can check to see what each device is doing as far as what it's getting.
Okay, thank you for your help. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I know, Lori, if you want to stay on at the end of this call, we can maybe practice sharing, and then next time we can get you to share that app that you're so excited about sharing with the.
That would be awesome. I had a question for you too, just really quick. If we want to have an app that we found that we think would be really cool, is there any way of installing apps on our school laptops?
That I don't know.
Like this Dosery is really cool. Oh, you're not the person. I didn't know. I just thought when you were a computer person, you might know the answer to that. But I'm stuck because I've got an old iPad that the school provided me, but it won't let me do anything with the newer programs.
Maybe Nicole or Tanya can connect you with a person that can answer that question.
I found the solution, but I have to be able to install a program in because it's the school laptop. I can't because of the authority part. So I didn't know. Okay.
Can you go through the help desk though, the way they gave that number to the families?
I'm not sure. I sent an email to Chris about it, but I know he's busy and he hasn't been able to get back to me. So I don't know.
It's just the way they told us, like, to let our families know even that they can contact the help desk. So, which
I could try that route. I haven't yet, but
yeah, I just like I had given my kids access to IXL, and then they just, anyway, the student deleted it, and then it was asking for this, the board Apple ID, and the help desk, helped them with that before I could even look into it further, they thought to ask them, and so they might be able to help you.
It's a good thing to try. My internet's cutting in and out all the time I'm on here.
Well, thanks everyone.
Okay, thanks all.
Have the rest of your day.
Thank you all very much.
We can't help you with that, Sharon. Okay.
So in the chat is the bit.ly for this presentation. The link, the first link I added is the wrong one. That's to the grade 5-6 notes, so you won't want that one. It's the next one, the bit.ly.
If you want to access those links that we had talked about to get to the virtual resources, any of those ones that you maybe don't have yet. And if anyone wants to email me at any time, or Nicole, we're happy to help with any of these types of questions or any of the things that we talked about that you're like, oh, I kind of remember, but not quite entirely. We're happy to help with that.
Yep.
Okay.
That's it. Thanks so much, guys. Thank
Wow.
you. We'll see you later. Thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much,
Tomorrow's
Lori.
Friday, so.
Yeah.